ACC announced that it unanimously concluded that athletes in all sports should be allowed to transfer one time without having to sit out a year of competition. Current NCAA rules require that athletes who play football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, and men's ice hockey have to sit out a year unless they graduate from their original institution or obtain a waiver from the NCAA. So we wanted to assemble a panel of great minds here. Doris, of course, joining us, and Jalen again, and Acho. And guys, it seems like we've already seen the Big Ten do this. These conferences are coming out and saying that they're going to allow these one-year transfer exemptions. Jalen, we need to see more conferences doing this, but what's your initial thought on seeing a little more power given to players?
I appreciate it, and I'm happy about it. And if you're the NCAA, you have to continue to do things to make your product more attractive, especially when NBA players in the next couple of years are going to be able to go straight from high school to the pros, and now there's so many international options. When coaches get hired or fired, they can go get another job. And I know that the transfer portal was really instrumental in college football. You see a lot of college quarterbacks that have changed destinations and have been impact players. So I have no problems with the rule. I think it's something that they should continue to build upon, and I think more conferences are going to follow suit.
It's the right thing to do. You cannot say athletes are equal when every other sport has had this option on the table for years, and then you say the 5 major sports can't do it, so it's the right thing. But my first question was, what was the impetus? So I reached out to Jay Billis, who's got the best pulse on this. He believes they may be punting on this issue to take a harder stance on name, image, and likeness. There are issues that intersect. It's a rabbit hole. I don't want to go down it, but it's an interesting thing. That's something they have felt so strongly about for such a long time. They've now punted on it. It is the right decision, though.
It's the right thing to do, and it's the smart thing to do. You talk about the college football playoffs this year. Let's focus on the sport that we're discussing. Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Joe Burrow, all transfer quarterbacks. That was the highest level, the highest product college football put out all year, and all those 3 players were transfer quarterbacks. And then it would alleviate so much of the issues and the controversy we have around coaches leaving. My main issue around coaches being able to depart on a moment's notice is that the players can't do the same thing. So not only is it the right thing to do, to Doris's point, it's also the smart thing to do. And it's interesting, Greeny, as a former player, to see the power shift. That's what's so intriguing to me.
The part of this that, and it's written on the bottom of the screen, and Laura read it, but I don't think you can say it enough times. These are rules that only apply to football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, and men's ice hockey. So there is no logically consistent way to suggest that this is not a business, which the NCAA has to consistently tell you, but then tell you we have set aside special rules for the sports, exclusively for the sports that wind up generating revenue. There is such inconsistency in that I actually had a hard time reading the story yesterday without laughing.
Well, in other words, I want to have control over the athletes that make the most money for the university.
Right.
That's really, if you really want to.
Here's the thing that killed Greeny. I wasn't actually upset until you read that. Yeah. It brings it all back to the forefront of the table. It's the NCAA is trying to continue to massage all of our eyes and convince us that the sport is amateur, when there's nothing amateur about the sport. They just have different sort of rules in play to try to keep it as amateur. That's why you don't want to have transferring allowed, because it's more like a free agency type of market.
The fact that both the ACC and the Big Ten have come out with unanimous decisions, I think, is really important, too. This is something that we'll continue to see these conferences do, and the more that happens, the less power the NCAA has. We're so glad you're watching ESPN on YouTube.
For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app.
And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.